When I pulled up to my old mountain cabin after 6 months overseas, I expected peace, pine-scented air, and maybe a raccoon or two rummaging through my trash. What I didn't expect was a no trespassing private HOA property sign nailed to my front porch. My porch, the one I built with my own hands. At first I thought it was a prank. Then I saw the padlock on the front door. A new one. Silver and shiny like it had been installed yesterday. My stomach sank. I'd owned that cabin for over a decade, paid the taxes, maintained the road, even replaced the roof after last winter's storm. But someone had decided it wasn't mine anymore. I drove down to the small cluster of houses at the base of the ridge. That's where she was, Patricia Hendress, HOA president, self-proclaimed protector of the community, and a woman with a talent for turning other people's property into her business. She was watering her precious petunias when I stepped out of the truck. "Well, look who's back," she said, voice syrupy sweet. "We thought you'd abandoned that structure." "Abandoned?" I asked. "It's my home." She smiled, tilting her head. "Not according to our updated community map. The board voted to include your lot in the HOA while you were gone. You should have received notice." I could feel my pulse pounding. "You can't just vote to steal property." "Oh, we didn't steal," she said, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "We're preserving order. Your cabin was a safety risk, unattended for months. We secured it for you." I turned on my heel and drove back up the hill, my hands trembling on the wheel. The padlock gleamed in the sunlight as I stood before the door again. Anger surged through me. I grabbed my toolbox, clipped the lock, and stepped inside. The air smelled wrong, like cleaning spray and lavender. My furniture had been rearranged, my photos taken off the wall, and a stack of HOA pamphlets sat neatly on my kitchen table. And on top of them was a note in neat cursive handwriting. "Unauthorized entry will result in fines and police involvement. HOA President Patricia Hendress." That's when I realized she wasn't just enforcing rules. She was trying to take over, and she had no idea what she just started. The next morning, I was woken by the crunch of tires on gravel. A white SUV rolled up the drive, glinting in the early light. On the side, in bold blue letters, Mountain Ridge HOA, security. I didn't even know. The HOA had security, but sure enough, 2 men in matching polos got out, clipboards in hand, acting like they owned the place. "Sir, you're trespassing," one of them said without so much as a greeting. I stared at him. "I'm the owner, Jack Morrison. This is my deed." I held up a laminated copy I'd kept in my truck glove box for years. He didn't even glance at it. "Ma'am, Hendress told us you broke into a sealed property under HOA jurisdiction. We'll have to report this." I laughed. A dry, angry sound that didn't feel like mine. "You tell Patricia that if she sets foot on my land again, I'll call the sheriff." They didn't respond, just scribbled something on their clipboards and drove away, dust swirling in their wake. I stood there in the stillness, staring at my cabin. My cabin. What kind of neighborhood war had I come home to? By noon, the retaliation began. Patricia's SUV crawled up the hill, her window rolling down with that familiar squeak. She had her camera out before I even said a word. "Smile, Mr. Morrison," she said. "You're being documented for property damage and non-compliance." "Non-compliance with what?" I snapped. "Our updated community regulations. You're in violation for unauthorized structural changes and unapproved occupancy." I could hardly believe it. She was acting like I was squatting in my own home. "You can't just make rules that apply to me," I said. "I never signed anything." She smirked. "The board has the authority to annex neglected properties. Maybe next time, don't leave it abandoned." That word again, abandoned. Like she'd been waiting to use it, to twist it into a weapon. I took a step closer. "You changed my locks, Patricia. That's illegal." "Oh, I didn't change them personally," she said, voice dripping with mock innocence. "Our maintenance team handled that for safety reasons." "Then your maintenance team trespassed," I said, my voice low. "And if I find so much as one nail missing, I'll be pressing charges." She rolled her window up slowly, her smile never fading. "We'll see, Mr. Morrison. The HOA always wins." As she drove off, I realized this wasn't just about property lines anymore. It was a power play, and she thought she'd already won. She had no idea who she was dealing with. 2 days later, I was splitting logs when a familiar rumble echoed down the trail. A black and gold county sheriff's SUV. Patricia must have made good on her threats. I wiped my hands on my jeans and waited as Deputy Cole stepped out. A man I'd known for years, back when I helped build his father's barn. "Morning, Jack," he said carefully, like he was stepping onto thin ice. "Got a call from the Mountain Ridge HOA. They're saying you forced entry onto restricted property." "Restricted property?" I repeated. "Cole, this is my land. My deed's on file at the courthouse. Patricia's the one who trespassed." He nodded slowly, eyes flicking toward the cabin. "Mind if I take a look?" "Be my guest." We walked inside, the floorboards creaking beneath us. Everything was neat, too neat. Patricia's lavender scent still hung in the air. Cole frowned. Someone's been cleaning in here. Yeah, without my permission. I handed him the note she'd left, the one threatening fines and police involvement. He read it, jaw tightening. Well, that's bold, he muttered. I'll file a report, but HOA disputes usually get tossed into civil court. You know how it is. I know, I said. But if she changed my locks and entered my home, that's breaking and entering. He gave me a look that said he agreed, but couldn't say it out loud. I'll talk to her. Maybe we can calm this down before it gets ugly. But ugly was exactly what Patricia wanted. That afternoon, as Cole's SUV disappeared down the road, a post went up on the HOA's online board. I saw it when a neighbor, Ellie, texted me a screenshot. HOA alert. Unauthorized squatter identified on Ridge. Lot 17. Residents advised to avoid contact. Law enforcement notified. She'd called me a squatter, publicly. My phone started buzzing with messages, some from neighbors offering support, others parroting her lies. Patricia was spinning the story faster than I could fight it. That night, I sat by the wood stove staring at the flames. I'd come here for quiet. But now I was knee-deep in a territorial war with a woman who wielded bureaucracy like a blade. And if Cole couldn't stop her, I knew I'd have to. I opened my laptop and began compiling everything. Deed records, property maps, photos of the new lock, timestamps from the security camera I'd hidden above the porch years ago. Patricia thought she could bully me with rules. But she'd forgotten one thing: paperwork cuts both ways. By the next morning, the cabin wasn't quiet anymore. Trucks rolled up and down the ridge, contractors, landscapers, HOA volunteers with clipboards. Patricia was expanding her little empire, painting fences, trimming trees, and posting new signs that read, HOA maintenance area, no entry. One of those signs appeared at the bottom of my own driveway. That was it. I printed every file I'd gathered, sealed them in a folder, and drove straight to the county courthouse. The clerk behind the desk recognized my last name before I even finished explaining. You're the cabin owner up by Ridge Lot 17? She asked. We've had multiple filings about that property lately. From Patricia Hendress, I'm guessing. The clerk gave a tight smile. She's been trying to register your land under the HOA's jurisdiction, but her claim was rejected. No legal standing. That was all I needed to hear. I filed a formal complaint for unlawful entry, property interference, and defamation. By the time I left, the deputy clerk had copies ready for both the sheriff's department and the civil court. Patricia wasn't just playing homeowner games anymore. She was facing charges. When I got back to the cabin that afternoon, Patricia was waiting. Her SUV was parked across my drive, blocking it completely. She stepped out in her sun hat and floral gloves, pretending she hadn't just been legally cornered. Mr. Morrison, she said, voice syrupy as ever, we've received word that you've filed some rather baseless accusations. They're not baseless, I said, handing her a copy of the paperwork. You've trespassed, tampered with my property, and publicly defamed me. The sheriff and the county both have records. Her fake smile cracked for just a second. You don't understand how things work here, she said. This community has rules, order. We can't have lone wolves? Order doesn't mean dictatorship, I cut in. And I'm not part of your community. Never was. She took a step back. You'll regret this. Maybe, I said, but at least I'll regret it from inside my own house. 2 days later, Cole came by again, this time with paperwork in hand. County court granted a restraining order, he said. Patricia's barred from coming within 200 feet of your property. HOA activity up here is suspended until further notice. Through the trees, I saw her SUV idling at the road's end. She watched as Cole handed me the order, her empire collapsing in real time. I didn't wave. I just closed my gate, locked it, and let the quiet return. Patricia had gone too far. But in the end, she learned the same thing every bully does. Some people don't scare easy. If you enjoyed this wild showdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss another crazy HOA story. Tell me in the comments. Did Patricia get what she deserved? Or would you have handled it differently? I love hearing your takes on these unbelievable moments. More stories coming soon.